This is a video about how to include footnotes in a history paper. So I have a fake history paper here about the history of making sea salt, and I basically want to include a footnote for a quote that I have included in my fake essay. So I have a little fake introduction, my first paragraph, and I'm talking about like how sea salt gets made, and I have quoted this person named Zeldovich with this quote here, and I want to put a footnote right here at the end of the quote outside of the quotation mark that will tell my reader where exactly I found this piece of information. All right, and I also want to include a Works Cited entry in addition to the footnote so that when my readers are done reading my whole paper, they can look at just the list of all the citations, even though some of that stuff will actually be in the footnotes as well, because that's how you do it. All right, so first thing I want to do is make my citation for this particular quote, and I found that quote here there it is right there, on this website called JSTOR Daily, and there's an article about the making of sea salt. And so what I need is a citation. And for most of you guys, the thing you'll use is ZoteroBib. And so here's ZoteroBib. It's the least spammy of all of the website makers at the moment. And you can just copy in the URL from up at the top on the website into here and then click cite. It sometimes will give you a good citation. Usually it doesn't, however. Usually there's not enough information like coded into the website itself to get it right. So you're probably going to need to click the manual entry button. So I would just suggest clicking the manual entry button all the time. So click manual entry, and it'll open up this screen which has all the stuff you need to enter, and you are defaulted to book, although most of you guys are probably doing website stuff. So if you click on this, it brings up all the kinds of things you might be citing, and you find the right one. In this case, it's a web page, so it's usually a web page, and that changes what you got to enter. And so you basically are just going to mine this website for the stuff here, and you can see I've already done it once here. And so this is the stuff you'll always need to do for my class and for freshman year here at West Seattle High School. So you'll need the title. In this case, I just grabbed the title from the webpage. You need the author's name, last name, first name. You leave this blank if there is no author. If you're worried your reader is thinking you don't know what you're talking about, you can write no author in for the last name, and that way your reader will know that you looked for one, couldn't find it. But for me, you're fine just leaving it blank. You put the website title. In this case, it was JSTOR Daily. Forgot to put the daily there. And then the only other stuff you need for me are the date that you have, or that they published it, if there is one. And this one did have a published date right there. If there is no published date, then you just leave that blank and instead do the accessed date, which would be the day you looked at it, and then you grab the URL. And so you really have 5 things: the title, the author, the website title, the date, and the URL. And if you don't have the date, you do the date accessed. If you don't have the author, you leave it blank. But once you've gotten this stuff done, then you click done, and it will create a citation. And so the citation that I've already created, this one right here, weirdly, to get this into the bibliography, the Works Cited section, you can't click this thing. Actually, this copies a note. What you actually want for the Works Cited or the bibliography entry is to click copy to clipboard. So once you've got all your citations here, and if you're logged into ZoteroBib, it'll remember it, but it's best to just do it one at a time or a few at a time. Click copy to clipboard, and it'll tell you it's copied. And then you go back to your paper and go down to the Works Cited page that you put at the bottom. So here's my essay, and I always just put the Works Cited page right away so I don't have to think about it later, and then I just type in paste in my thing that I got from ZoteroBib. So I'm already building my Works Cited as I go along, but I still need the footnote right here to show where I found this thing. And so to do that, what you do is go back to ZoteroBib, and then you're going to grab, that's when you use this copy note thing. So you click copy note, and you don't have to worry about the page number because it's a website. That's what your mini footnote version of the bibliography entry is. So you click copy note, go back. By the way, if I like my stuff in Chicago manual style, you can see this little thing here. Mr. Martin I know likes Modern Language Association, I think, and a whole lot of teachers do. But I'm a Chicago guy because that's sort of the history one I was taught. So make sure you're on Chicago for me. But you can see it just changes it automatically for you, so it's not really that tricky. Just Chicago style, click copy note, and then you go back to your paper, which is right there. And so right here is where I want that footnote to show that this quote came from that place down there. Sounds weird to do like a footnote and a works cited, but that is how you do it. So you put your cursor where you want it, and that'll be outside of the quotation. So always punctuation, quotation mark, and then footnote. And then you go up to your menu tab or your nav bar thing up here, and there's like home is the normal one, and you go to references because you're going to make a reference. So references, and then there's a little button for insert footnote to make everything nice and easy. You click insert footnote, and you can see it put the little footnote mark right there, and it opens up a footnote thing at the bottom, and you just paste in your citation that you got, your citation page. And you can see the footnote is really close to what the works cited is. In fact, it's just the first part of the works cited. So if there's a lot more text here, what'll happen is the footnote stays just at the bottom of the page. It's like literally at the foot of the page. And then at the end of your essay will be the works cited. So the way a reader would use this would be they'd read along and they would see this quote that you have in your paper. They'd look at the footnote and then they'd look at the bottom of the page and they'd be like, oh, that's from the Zeldovich book. Okay, cool. I trust that author. Or wait, what's this book? It's just a little shorty one though, so if they really wanted to know and find this book themselves, then they would go to the end of the book or the end of your paper and they would see the works cited and be like, oh, okay, there's the full citation for this citation. So that's how footnotes work in a formal world history paper or a formal history paper of any sort. So it's again, just click references, footnote, and use Zotero-bib and things like that to get your actual citation done properly. And that way you have a nice easy time. It's actually really easy and quick. It's just a question of putting the footnote in the right place and clicking a few buttons. And that's it. Thanks. Bye.